Okay, so moving from people to technology, the other equation in the workplace. So the workplace is all about people, and really can't escape technology to get things done. So in terms of corporate real estate and property, the search for technology, the holy grail of technology continues. It's an evolution. We all want AI, BI, robotics. We want things to be done whilst we're not worrying about it. Everybody has a solution. Where's all this going? Will we have an Amazon? Will have a be-all, end-all solution, or will we have a lot of smaller groups, addressing niche technology needs in the whole real estate cycle? And it's somewhere a combination of the two. We do need some standards. We do need some general interoperability between systems, but it's a good journey. It's a lot of progress done, but a lot more work to be done. The investment in CRE tech and PropTech is at an all-time high, so a lot of venture capital going into stuff. And to explore this further, I've got Tom Pullinen from Pullinen Property Group, who will chair a panel of Brent Harmon, founder and CEO of ThinkMesh, Donna Winkley, Director, WMK Architecture, and Peter Gorman, Managing Director, InDesign Technology. Over to you, Tom.
Testing, thank you. Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us here in Canberra. Got my old style notes out here. And my modern timekeeping. All right, technology. So we've just had the panel briefly talking about the various ages. I think that is one main issue in all the business, be it public or private. I think the next one that everyone's really worried about but doesn't quite know enough about it, or maybe there's too much to know, is all about technology. I think the issue is that we all know it's there for us to help. We don't know how it's really going to affect us, which is the main concern. And I've just got a panel here today where we're doing a roadshow for now, this is the third year, and this is the fifth city that we're doing this year. Just briefly, CRE tech, PropTech, people call it all sorts of things. It doesn't really matter. This is all about technology and real estate, but it's more about also how technology is affecting real estate, our lives, our work, our workplaces, etc. Now, just a further conversation, I'd like to, so where's it all going? And just welcome to our panel. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves so you can actually just let the audience understand how you fit into this whole line.
Okay, well, I'm Dr. Donna Winkley. I have a PhD in environmental psychology, and I'm also a designer. I'm also a registered architect, and what I can talk about on this panel is the impact of technology on design, both what we do within a studio and how we use AR and VR with our clients to improve the design process. We also change the designs and thinking about space as it's influenced by changing technology from a user's perspective. So that has a big impact on the environments we create, because technology is changing the way we use and engage with and require space.
Peter?
Well, according to my Qantas frequent flyer card, I'm also a doctor, which has got me in a little bit of trouble from time to time. However, my mum always asked me, what do you do again? And so it's quite hard to describe, I think. So I like to describe myself as a technology architect. So we sell our time, our knowledge, and bits of paper with lines on it. And apparently in Queensland, they've just bringing legislation we can't call ourselves architects unless we actually are architects. So I might have to come up with a better description. But essentially, we work with a lot of large companies all around Australia and in other parts of the world, and we take them on that technology journey. So we work hand in hand with the client, the architects, building services engineers and so on to provide technology solutions to meet their design outcomes.
I don't have a PhD, I'm not a doctor, so I feel a little bit of imposter syndrome here. But anyway, I think that's common for the technology industry. So Brent Harmon, I have my own business called ThinkMesh. It's a part consulting business, part startup. Consulting's about making money, so I tend to do that. Startup's about spending money, so I don't do as much as I should. Before I started my own business about 12 months ago, I was at Atlassian for 4 years, managing their global experience and real estate team, which included culture and real estate and technology. So it was the Holy Trinity. And before that, I spent 7 years in Fairfax. So I worked for the stereotypical disruptor and disruptee. Funnily enough, property is equally as powerful, or the environment, I guess, is equally as powerful in both of those scenarios. And I guess the way that I look at it is, I look at the environment in its truest definition. And if you look up the definition of environment in the dictionary, it talks about not just physical, but social and cultural. And I sort of throw in there another one, which is business-to-business connections. And I think what we are doing, and I was delighted to hear both of the presentations before we got on stage talked about people. I didn't hear them once talk about measuring buildings, and that's sort of cool. I think we've come a long way in 12 months. And it's definitely the right track to be on. So I'm about getting environments for businesses and people to let them do the best work of their lives and to be as productive as possible.
Now, just getting into the bare bones of technology, how are you guys seeing around you, being clients yourselves, your companies, etc., and the adoption of technology? There's people who do and don't, and I'm just wondering, just quickly, how are they adopting, and if they are, why, and if not, why not? Peter?
I think technology is such a broad term, so it's, we need to sort of drill into it a bit more and be a bit more specific. You could classify IT as technology, smartphones, audio-visual systems and so on. So I think we're probably talking more about smart buildings, but no one's been able to describe to me what a smart building actually is or what it looks like. So it's a reiterative process where we're constantly trying to refine and raise the bar all the time with using technology to, once again, provide better outcomes, create efficiencies, that kind of thing for businesses.
So, Brent, you went from Atlassian now into your own environment. How are you seeing it from the opposite side?
It's an interesting question. I think what I'm noticing is that we have got, our industry has got an abundance of wonderfully talented, smart people, and we tend to see technology as something where we're standing on the outside looking in, trying to keep up, instead of actually jumping into the mix and actually saying, I'm going to run with this and take it in a direction that makes sense. Because so the people that I see that are doing well with technology are the people that see technology as a means to solve a problem they've experienced in their careers for a long period of time, as opposed to something to make lives easier. I think it's that by default. But the most successful people who have adopted technology or come up with technology solutions are those that are solving problems that they've experienced during their professional careers.
Yeah, good point. And Donna, how are you seeing it from a design perspective? Where are you from?
Well, we see when we speak to clients, they're usually thinking about a new environment. At the same time, they're thinking about implementing new technologies or how to maximise the investment that they've already recently had in that field. So it's always evolving with every organisation. Some are led more by it than other organisations, but it's always an element. It's always a critical element to our strategic development of what the client is after, or what we can offer to help the client. So it's always critical. Different degrees of priorities within our industry. It's constantly evolving. Where a lot of design firms will be looking to use and implement technology to streamline, to identify efficiencies, how to do more with less, like any organisations wanting to do and seeking out technology solutions for how to do that. And sometimes it's working really well, and sometimes you need to trial and fail fast and try something else.
And it seems like it takes time. If you've got legacy systems, you can't change because the contract's still got another 2 years to go, or there are always barriers, but there's also other companies like, I'm sure, Brett at Atlassian, it's just like, just go for it. it was always encouraged to just...
Yeah, one of the values was always to change your seat. So if you see something that needs to change, change it.
Now, just moving into that, just the panel beforehand, we were talking sort of the different ages and culture. Let's go technology. Let's not worry about the culture for a moment. How is technology going to affect our work, the way that we work? I know it's a broad topic, and I know we've been through this, some of the panel members and I, in other cities, but just your perspective on really where work's going to go. Are we all actually going to be working in 5 years, or are we all going to be sitting down and getting a, what do they call it, a national wage or whatever it is?
Yeah, look, I think for me, the biggest influence that we're going to see in the way that we work, as far as technology is concerned, is voice and artificial intelligence. And it's going to really transform just the way that we do business and the way decisions are being made. But yeah, voice from a frictionless point of view, so we don't have to try and simplify the technology and the systems, and then better decision making or more informed decision making behind the scenes with that AI.
Just quickly on voice, who has Amazon, Alexa or Google Home at home? Okay, so there are some. A year ago there was almost nobody, so at least that's a start. It's just interesting to see how that's...
Just a quick stat, there is over 1 billion Google Assistant enabled devices globally, and that's just with Google. So that doesn't factor in Alexa, Cortana, Siri, any of these other devices. So Google has 1 billion enabled devices.
How many people are aware?
How many people are aware of it? Probably not as many as their smart device.
My kids the other day asked Google how old she was, and they were surprised that she was as young as she was. So I thought it was around when I was young. So.
And then move, okay, to Brent.
Yeah, again, this is a huge interest of mine. Look, I think every job in every industry, across every company, is going to change dramatically. Now, when it's going to happen soon. It's going to happen at an increasing speed. I believe that knowledge workers will cease to be human. They'll be artificial intelligent robots. And so when you look at what the knock-on effects of that would be, is that there's actually a huge role for humans around relationship management, empathy, actually fitting using the knowledge in a smart and intelligent way and getting people to understand it. And so I say to my kids that I think they need to be good at change. They need to roll the punches and be really conscious about how people feel. And that's I get them to think about that before they do their maths. And the reason being is most of the people who are designing software, which is powering all these outcomes, aren't high empathy individuals, and that's not to say to me that they're incredibly gifted in ways that I can't even imagine. But they're not high empathy, so I can't imagine them coding for empathy. And so I think hopefully doctors and nurses and teachers will eventually be paid what they're worth.
Yeah. So theoretically, what you're saying then is we're not all going to lose our jobs. We're just going to adopt change.
Yeah,
I blend into some other role.
The people who lose their jobs who do nothing. So it's easy to say when there's no script there or there's no instruction book on how to do it. But I think every day, I always say 20% of your time spent at changing things and making yourself feel uncomfortable.